I'm a Liverpool fan.
Okay. Okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Arsenal fans?
Of course. Who won't be?
Some I know people who would not be.
Yeah.
Chelsea fans.
Look, let's give it to Arsenal. They've, unfortunately, these last 3 seasons, they've just found themselves in the wrong. They've done everything within the books to at least take one of the trophies, either in England or Europe. But it's just eluding them at the last. I just hope they'll be able to sustain this up to the last hour.
We hope so.
Of the UCL.
Okay. So for this conversation, a mob action apparently powered by what is considered blasphemy. They were looking to lynch the woman. Some people came to her defense. They were not successful. But all of this happened. Now, what is the position of the law on an issue such as this?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that these things are still happening in Nigeria in these modern times. This speaks to the fact that not that we don't have available laws, but the problem with the enforcement mechanism has always been what has incentivized this kind of actions that you see repeating itself. Just a few weeks ago, we heard what happened in Edo State, where a group of northern youths were lynched on suspicion of whatever. Even in Rivers State here, it wasn't a religious issue then. You remember the Alu 4?
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with religion. But some certain Nigerians took laws into their hands and killed some few youth, students of Unipots. So I think that the security agencies, particularly the Nigerian police, should live up to expectation. I listened to your news and I heard that the police was involved. I was expecting that the police ought to have arrested. You can see the brazenness with which even one of them was even talking. Meaning that these people are visible, they are not invisible, these people are known, they can be traced and arrested. That's the life due law. Section 33 of the Constitution prescribes how it guarantees the right to life, with just a few exceptions, which is maybe by self, if maybe your life is in danger, self-defense, or maybe to quell insurrection or war, or whatever. But as a Nigerian citizen, your life is guaranteed and secured and protected by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. No one can take your life outside the prescribed procedure, either by enforcement of a judgment of court. That is to say, if you have committed a crime and you've been found guilty of that crime and that the punishment prescribed by law entails the taking of your life, only in such instances can you be killed. Other than that, if the law does not prescribe that process, if you did not commit a crime, then your life should and are covered under the direct principle of policy. The government is establishing protection of life and property, particularly lives of citizens. So when you hear that the police was there, there was a police officer who was also convicted alongside others.
Yeah.
All right. So the weakness of the agencies, the security agencies, when this arise, is what has emboldened people to always take laws into their hands. You hear them, if you catch this person and take him to the police, they will release him. So because they fear that this person may come back and bounce back on the society, so they just decide to just dispense with the person at that spot. You don't have such rights.
Okay. So 2 things. First of all, commendation has to go the way of the police, because the police, along with some Muslim community members, were the ones who defended the woman to ensure that she wasn't lynched, right? So we must give commendation where it's due. Secondly, according to this report, the police are also looking for the man who alleged that she blasphemed. Apparently, he's at large. So for those 2 parts, and I know that, they leave a lot to be desired, we would say that based on the report we have, the police conducted themselves well.
Well, it's not just enough for you to curb the situation. There are things that you should do as a follow-up. That is where I'm coming in. You don't just go and say, oh, two people are fighting, let's just separate it. You have to find out the root. You have to investigate. You have to be able to go beyond stopping the crime to taking it further to ensure that appropriate sanctions are meted on whoever was found culpable. What these people did was an attempt on the life of this lady.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the offense was. And attempted murder has a prescribed punishment of life imprisonment. It is that serious under the criminal code, section 1, I think it's 320 of the criminal code, prescribes a life sentence for an attempt. And from what you heard, these people say, they are even threatening that if the woman comes back, her life is not secured.
We have a break. After that break, we talk some more. Stay with us. Still hard facts, 92.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Oracle Chinedu here. I was speaking to the tension that erupted in Woji market after alleged blasphemy. My guest, Barrister Eugene, is still right here with me, and we're talking about how the law interprets actions such as this. You're welcome once again, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So you were speaking before the break about the role of the police and how you believe more should have been done, some arrests should have been made. And it's important that we go back to how this started. It is because of an allegation of blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
Right? Now, the best way I can ask this question is, are there restrictions to freedom of expression?
Yeah, sure. Even the criminal code itself makes provisions for punishing provocative comments that could provoke a section of the community, particularly section 88, paragraph A. It says, any person who in any manner or form publishes or displays or offers to the public pictorial representation of any person living or dead in a manner likely to provoke any section of the community. If you go further, it goes beyond just publication. Even when you make inciting comments to provoke a section of the community, is liable upon conviction if found guilty of a fine of 100,000. Okay,
hold on. Sorry to interrupt you, but while you're saying this, something came to mind. So does that mean that, I'm quoting now, please?
Yeah.
The Ijaws are minority of the minority.
Yeah.
Falls under what you just said.
Yes.
So that statement by the FCT minister.
Yes.
Is unconstitutional.
Of course.
Okay.
It's not just, he made a statement about the Ijaws.
Yeah.
But the law is talking about any person. It talks about when you make a comment, all right, representation of any person, living or dead, in a manner.
I responded because you said section. I think you used the word section.
No, that is when you make that comment about that section that provokes a section of the community.
Okay.
You understand? Now, you can just say something about maybe like Kent Arawiwa, and you say it in a derogatory manner that provokes a section of the community. If it is found that you made that statement with the intention of provoking the Ogonis, of course, you're liable upon due process of the law to a conviction and for punishment of 100,000 naira as a fine or an imprisonment of three months.
So if this woman actually blasphemed, because it's an allegation.
Yeah.
The person who leveled the allegation is the man who bought something on credit.
Yeah.
So people don't know if she actually did or he was trying to escape paying his...
exactly.
Yeah. So if she did, does that not contravene that part of the Constitution?
That is what I'm saying. If it is found that indeed she said anything to provoke, maybe the Muslim community within that area said something about their leader in a provocative manner. If it is found so, if taken to the court, she will be convicted for and then sentenced to either 3 months imprisonment or with an option of fine, which is 100,000. That is not compared to killing. If you don't take her to the police and prove your case, you decide to take laws into your hands. There is no law that justifies that, and that's the point to be made. That she blasphemed Muhammad does not give you the right to take her life. It does not. You have remedies to explore within the sphere of the law, which I have just read now, the criminal code. You can take advantage of that. Take her to the police. This person has blasphemed my leader. You have proof. You have evidence. If it is found so, the police will do their investigation.
Okay.
If she is found to have indeed committed this crime and has done it in a manner to provoke the Muslim community, she will be charged to a magistrate court. And if at the end of the day, with evidence, it is proven that indeed she actually committed such a crime, she will be sentenced to 3 months imprisonment.
Okay.
That should satisfy the Muslim community.
Yeah.
But if they decide on their own to take laws into their hands by lynching the woman, they have committed a greater offense, which is murder. They've committed conspiracy to commit murder. They've committed murder itself. And all this, in fact, murder itself, the sentence for murder is life imprisonment. It's life for life. It's life for life. In fact, now as it is now, They did not succeed in committing murder, but there was an attempt on her life, which they themselves have confessed. And apart from the fact that they are confessing, they are even saying brazenly that the woman is still not safe. So there is issue of threat to life. You have played it. I heard the the voiceover.
Yeah.
So the police should begin now to go on a manhunt. As a matter of fact, all those who participated in that attempt to kill this woman, they are supposed to be reined in by now and be subjected to the due process of the law.
Okay. Now, after that happened, there was a peace deal brokered. There was a peace meeting with community leaders, members of the Muslim community, all that would be considered stakeholders, vigilante and all of that. Does that not bring some relief to, this peace meeting or peace deal or whatever I want to call it? Is all forgiven?
Well, like I said, the whole thing boils down on the management of crime management. All right. There's crime prevention and there's also remedial measures for crime. All right. These people are actually baying for blood. Who knows? Apart from the peace deal that has been brokered right now, someone is still not happy. Someone is still saying that woman will never come back. Is that part of the peace deal? That doesn't look to me like a peace deal.
That happened before the meeting.
Well, what guarantees does this woman have that if they find her anywhere around that area, she's safe? So I think that these people should be subjected to due exemplary measure. Let one or two people be brought out and be subjected to the due process of the law, so that it will serve as a deterrent for others. Let them understand that Nigeria does not recognize state religion, because their action was born out of their religious beliefs and religious persuasions. Because under Sharia law, if you hear what they say about blaspheming their prophet, that is just under the Sharia law. There is no Nigerian law that gives that kind of mandate. It is Sharia law. And the question is that, is Sharia law is it practiced as a state religion? It's a religious law. If you look at, like I told you, Section 10 of the Constitution completely abhors establishment of state religion. That's why even the Sharia law is not a state religion. It is just the same way we have the Christianity here. You're only bound by Sharia law by reason of your being a Muslim. If you're not a Muslim, you're not supposed to be bound by Sharia law. And that has been the argument of these people in the north who decide to proclaim their state as Sharia law. They tell you that, look, it is only applicable to those who are Muslims. If you're a Christian living there, that law does not bind you. You can only be subjected to the penal code. But those of them who have bound themselves under the Islamic principle, Islamic religion, they allow themselves, subject themselves to the Sharia law. Now, is this woman a Muslim? The woman we're talking about, the question is she a Muslim?
I doubt.
So if she's not a Muslim and she has done that, you cannot bring a law that is not known to us in this country, and you want to come under that law to execute sanctions against a Nigerian citizen who is not a Muslim and who does not recognize that your local law. Because every law is subject to the Constitution. The Constitution is the ground norm from which every other law derives its validity. There's no state in Nigeria that's enacted Sharia law as a state law.
All right, we have 5 minutes left on the clock. I'll take one or two calls. My question is, how do we balance religious beliefs with public peace in a multi-faith society like Nigeria? 08179230002. Like I said earlier, these are issues that border on religion, so you need to be very careful how you respond. We will not entertain any comment that is derogatory or similarly inciting. I think any god or thing someone worships or believes should be someone or something greater than him. Okay, I see your message. Thank you very much. And good evening, Oracle. My question now is, what and how do I say what can be termed as blasphemy against the prophet so that I would not say it unknowingly? Emmanuel from Port Harcourt. I'll take this call and then respond to your question. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, hello, good evening. My name is Art, calling from London. They call me the Oracle.
All right, go ahead.
I think tolerance should be the key word. There should be tolerance, irrespective of whatever religious belief you have. First thing first is you should try learn to tolerate and accommodate the other man's belief system. That's the first thing first. Now, in a multi-ethnic state like ours, you don't put or shove yours down the throats of others. Like the brother in the studio said, there has to be punitive measures because they committed a crime. So take that veil of religion off. People should not often, behind the veil of religion, commit crimes and they hide there. So to me, it's time we begin to take off that veil of religion and call a crime and treat it in the eyes of the law the way it ought to be. So tolerance, yes. Understanding, yes. But we should take out the veil of religion and treat a crime as a crime.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, to the person who sent a message, blasphemy in a religious sense refers to great disrespect to God or to something holy or to something said or done that shows that kind of disrespect. So I think that if and when it is happening, you can almost immediately tell. It doesn't look or sound like anything else. It is disrespect to something holy. Chimezie from Rumekini. Okay, Chimezie. I've lost that call. Greetings to you and your guests. It is not accepted in Islam. You can Google it. Okay. That's from Mr. Lukman. It says Muslim scholars should have done justice to the case before to prevent further occurrence. Mr. Lukman from Transamadi. Thank you very much. And I want to know what entails or constitutes blasphemy by extremists. Secondly, I want to express disappointment with Nigeria police to let the guys go without an arrest for attempted lynching. Anyway, they will look the other way. They will only be active and show force when responsible citizens protest for a good cause. We literally have 2 minutes on the clock, and I wish we did have more time. But Saudi, conclusively, of course, I'm going to ask you what the way forward is. Section 204 of the Criminal Code prohibits acts that insult or bring into contempt any religion that may provoke a breach of peace.
Yeah, I just told you something similar. Section 88, paragraph A. It's if you put it, community reading, put it together, it's just the same thing. All right? Saying things that will create or incite this kind of reaction itself is a crime. Okay? But if you read further, you will see what the law prescribes.
Yeah, 2 years in prison. I think there's a fine. I can't remember.
Exactly.
Up to 2 years in prison.
Exactly. So what they ought to have done was to call in the police.
Okay.
Activate the criminal justice system. Take the lady, let her be processed. If found wanting by the court, appropriate sanctions will be meted out on the lady, not to take loss. The point is that you don't have the right.
We are down to final seconds. What needs to be done moving forward to prevent a recurrence?
For me, I think
30 seconds.
I think that criminals should not be let off the hook on the basis of what the caller just said. Should not be let off the hook on the pretext of religious cover. Anyone who is found wanting, anybody who has committed a crime, in this case, a crime has been committed. Attempted murder has been threat to life has been committed, and these people are alive. They are visible. They could be found.
Okay.
Let the law take its course. They should be arrested and subjected to exemplary measures.
Thank you, Barrister Ode, for your time. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
A program plays now, and at 6 we have the major news. Stay with us.
All One Property with Dr. Prince Joel, Esquire, live on